This is a JTP audio podcast.
Sometimes talking with friends feels like role-playing. Sometimes it feels like combat. Join us at the round table and roll initiative. This is Curmudgeons and Dragons.
Hello once again. Welcome back to yet another episode of Curmudgeons and Dragons.
Hooray!
We're here.
We've done it.
We did it. We made it a whole nother episode. I'm here with my big buddy Jason.
What's going on, bud?
How's it going, man?
You have a lovely home, and thank you for allowing us into it.
You're very welcome. I'll allow you into my home anytime. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, big fan of it.
You'll also allow me into your beer fridge, so thank you for that, too.
Well, everyone's allowed in my beer fridge. It's an open invitation to my beer fridge.
Today we're drinking a Maple Shade Lager.
You are.
Courtesy of Dr. Brewlittle's Beer, located in Maple Shade, New Jersey.
So I hear it's a terrible brewery.
That's, no, I disagree. I
think the owner's a dick.
I mean, yeah, he definitely is.
No, he sucks.
Yeah, he's the worst.
You should go to the brewery just to curse off the owner because he's an asshole.
The best part is I feel like some people who maybe are just tuning in for the first time, I'm like, wow, they really must hate that brewery. That's the worst part.
Nah. Jackie Boy here owns it. So
that's me. I'm also joined by the just absolutely wonderful Josey Diaz.
Oh, you stop it. If I'm so wonderful, why'd I have to climb in through the porch?
I don't know. We just like watching you climb pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair.
Solid question, though. So we're here at the pain in the ass, Josey Diaz.
Yeah, that's much better. I like that a lot better. We're here. How you doing?
Not dead.
Living life?
Yeah, living the dream.
We're going to do a fun little episode. So the reason you hear my voice now predominantly is because we're going to do a DMing episode. Just some tips, tricks, and your first time DMing kind of thing. I know I have DM'd plenty of times.
You are the resident.
I am the resident DM.
Dungeon daddy.
I am a dungeon daddy. I know that you just had your first experience DMing.
I did.
You did. And we have a virgin DM here as well, which will be fun to get some input from.
That's me.
That's you.
I have so many questions that I don't even know that I have.
We can get her ready to run.
Yeah, we're ready. So I want to start out by saying...
She can run one for us.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations on your first DMing session. It's just a lot of fun. So tell me about it. Let's get a little experience story.
We've got an excellent little group that is run by our friend Joe. You met Joe when we did the short-lived campaign at your brewery.
He's a jam. We're not going to talk about that. It's fine.
We were originally recording those episodes to be a podcast that eventually, through several changes, became this podcast. So Joe is also first-time DM. I think he's done some very small stuff with his son. His son is 15 now.
Yeah.
So he's done some DMing for his stuff, but it was all very rudimentary. It's his first time DMing. And this is one of his first times doing a campaign mostly for adults. So Joe has been our DM. And the downside of running anything with a group full of adults is schedules suck.
Yeah, it's really tough when you get a little bit older schedule stuff. People forget that they have jobs and families and a life.
Yeah. And it makes things like podcasting very difficult. It makes things like having a regular D&D campaign very difficult.
That's real tough to do now.
And, we take a couple weeks off here and there, and we've all kind of resolved to the fact that we're just not going to play this week, and it happens. And everyone's kind of cool about it, and we all understand that we're just going to come in next week hot.
There's nothing wrong with that. So, what campaign are we in? What's our setting? What are we doing?
It is Descent to Avernus.
Okay, so we're going pre-made campaign
/ Baldur's Gate.
Okay,
so we are currently in Baldur's Gate, and we are now being called down to the Nine Hells. So we are currently level 4. I'm playing a ranger named Alvalor Dreambow.
So you're DMing an NPC.
No. This is the campaign we're normally playing.
Okay.
So this is our normal campaign.
All right, so we're going normal campaign.
So with schedules being difficult and us all being adults and having difficult schedules, that led to us taking a week off.
Okay.
Which then led to, do we want to have the night off? Or since we're all here, we're ready to play, and the only person who can't play this week is the DM, let me take a shot at this.
Okay.
So I had some prefab one-shots that were designed to either be like total one-shot campaigns that start and end in 3 hours, or could be written in as small parts of a larger campaign, little side quest type of stuff. Yeah. And you can find stuff like this. DMsguild.com is where I got it.
A really good place for it.
And I'll even put a link to where you can download the campaign that I used, and a couple other ones that I liked. Those will be affiliate links for us if you want to help us out too. But this was a campaign called The Wild Sheep Chase.
Okay.
And I downloaded it a few months ago, back when the pitch for what ended up being this podcast was very different. Mm-hmm. This started off as a podcast. The original pitch was we're going to do a bunch of one-shots.
Yeah.
Every week was going to be a different 2-3 hour campaign. Characters different every time. DMs different every time. Players different every time. It was extremely tough.
Yeah.
But the concept on the surface, I thought was brilliant. I would absolutely listen to something like that. I still would love to do it. It's just that that's a really hard thing to schedule.
Mhm.
And, a couple changes, and now we have Curmudgeons and Dragons, which I'm extremely happy for.
Just the best.
I legit love doing this show.
Yeah.
So I had some of these campaigns downloaded and already ready to go. That was one of the ones that I chose to read ahead and spoil for myself, just in case someone else wanted to run something else. I didn't spoil the rest. And we had the night off, and I took my hand at running it.
You broke your DM cherry.
Broke my DM cherry.
I mean, it's actually kind of surprising that you broke it that quickly with how short you've been playing D&D for.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, like you haven't been playing that long, and you're just like, let me give my hand at running a campaign now.
I'm a very dive headfirst into a hobby type of person.
Yeah, you figure out the water later.
Yeah,
I get that.
This Descent to Avernus campaign is my first, proper campaign. Like we said in a previous episode. Now I go back to middle school, but we were really just kind of barely playing correctly and just taking silly ideas from the books that we saw and really just kind of running around and having fun.
Yeah.
Now that I'm an adult and avid tabletop gamer and board games and stuff like that, and rules actually make sense to me now. Now we can actually run things how it's supposed to be run. So yeah, this is my first proper campaign. A version of this campaign started and ended kind of abruptly right around lockdown.
Okay.
So this is like kind of the same campaign, kind of the second crack at it.
All right.
So like, is this really my first anymore? It's kind of hard to say.
Well,
That's
let's say first,
great.
like quote unquote full.
Sure.
Yeah. So overall, though, if you had to like say how you think the thing went, and we'll go classic 1 to 10. Sure. Overall, how do you feel like you DM'd and the session went? 2 separate numbers.
Gonna go. How I DM'd, I will go solid 7, 7.5.
All right. Well, we threw the half.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to go a point down. You said, fuck it, 7.5.
No. I think as DMing goes, I think I did a pretty good job. Like as far as, I've never DM'd before. I've only played a small handful of campaigns. However, I do spend almost all my time listening to actual play podcasts. So shout out to the DMs on those shows.
Yeah. Great resources.
And I kind of learned through osmosis just from listening to them over and
Absorbing
over again.
it in.
Yeah.
It's right through the skin.
So I went in, kind of knowing, when to make my players make rolls and what kind of rolls to make them make and how to describe a scene.
How do you feel like the overall campaign went?
I think a good measure of success for any campaign is, did your players have fun?
Did they have fun?
And they all had fun.
You can't beat that.
What did you find was like surprising to you about the first time DMing? Like, was there anything that shocked you or was easier or harder than you thought would be?
Yeah. With the campaign being kind of a prefab, pre-written thing, you kind of expect the players to go along with what's written. And players being players
do not do that.
Love to go in opposite directions. So like the biggest surprise and the biggest challenge was like how much I had to railroad without railroading. Still make it their choice, but make it so that the obvious play is where I expected them to go. Not needed them to go. I probably could have, finagled a few things. And maybe they were just being nice and being like, okay, clearly he wants us to follow the sheep. So they follow the sheep. Could have been a couple of things, but that was the biggest surprise to me was how difficult it is to get players to do what you expect them to do.
Without completely railroading them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you had to pick, let's say just general stuff, like 2 really like good things that stuck out in your mind about DMing and then 2 things that you kind of like, shit, like I wish I had done something different.
All right. So I'll answer the second one first because my biggest regret in the campaign was that, again, it was a prefab and I read it a few months ago when I downloaded it. And then I reread it again. It's only like 4 pages, but I reread it again that day when we decided we were doing it. And then again, like an hour before.
Okay.
Just to make sure that I was kind of up to speed on everything. And I had it open. I had all my stat blocks in front of me and stuff like that.
Little refreshers on that.
We play on Zoom. So like, no real screen or anything, no books. Everything was on browsers. There was a part in the campaign. I don't want to spoil it because we were going to put the link out there, but there was a part where in a battle, there was supposed to be some really cool stuff happening at the same time as the battle. And I completely forgot about those things. So my players had a very good normal battle that was not worth writing home about. That was, just a standard beat up some animals battle.
Yeah.
And there was some really cool shit that was supposed to be happening at the same time that would have made it like a very memorable battle.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot they existed. And my players had a good time instead of a great time.
I mean, listen, you cut your teeth early. You said everyone forgets stuff. I mean, I forgot, hearkening back to the campaign that we did, I forgot stuff.
Yeah. And
I just kind of like, how to play. Like I literally forgot, like a huge thing that I forgot at home was actually a sheet of all of my characters. So all the characters you met, like your potion master, this guy, everybody's favorite character.
Oh, there's no way you forgot about Grist.
No, I know, weird, right?
Grist.
I forgot, like I had a whole list of NPCs in the village and I couldn't remember names, so I did it like, a while ago. So I just had to off the cuff do stuff. I mean, off the cuff is how you cut your DM teeth.
Sure. Now, all the NPCs and all the important characters were made for me, which was kind of cool. There was very quick little blurbs on how to roleplay them properly, which I kind of read, kind of ignored. But the specific battles, there was this one in particular that was supposed to have some really cool stuff going on, and that I just didn't do.
That's a,
so
no one's ever going to find out until it's done.
I told them immediately.
Okay.
We finished the campaign. They're like, yeah, that was great. I'm like, yeah, cool. It could have been a lot better because this was supposed to happen. They're like, oh, A, that would have killed us. B, that would have been awesome.
But usually the things that kill you are the most awesome.
Right.
Shout out to the Tarask.
And then also the big surprise for me was how easy it is to kill all your players by accident.
Wow. I mean, I tell you what, a couple of good rolls and a couple of their bad rolls, and it's game over.
Yeah.
Especially with a low-level party or just starting party, man. Like, you can get killed by a couple of wolves. It's not that hard.
And again, no spoilers. There's a part where the players go up against a worm that has a breath weapon.
That's me.
Yeah.
You're the worm with the breath weapon?
Yes.
I keep telling you to brush your teeth, but you don't listen to me.
No, I don't. I don't listen to anybody.
You really don't. The free soul with stinky breath.
If I eat enough mint leaves, it's totally fine.
I don't think that's how that works. It's like saying if you rub a crystal under your armpits, you're not going to stink.
People do that?
I mean to talk to you about that, by the way. It's breath and pits. You got to work on that.
So
I think it's fine.
The worm throws a breath weapon. I had the party roll dexterity roll, and they all fail. And I lied to them and told them they all passed. Because if I didn't, it was a total party kill.
Yeah, and it's there's nothing wrong with a little behind the scenes magic.
Yeah.
They don't have to know that.
I'm
and you want that, like you said, the goal is to have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
You kill all your players in one swipe, they're not going to have that good of a time.
Nope, I knew why.
Yeah.
But pleasant surprises. This prefab thing had little blurbs on how to properly roleplay each NPC and the big bad and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I kind of went back to our previous episode about voice acting. I didn't use the website of the randomizer or anything like that. I just kind of like had an idea of what this character looks like in my head that they kind of have to describe, but I kind of ignored.
Yeah.
And just made a voice on the fly of what I thought that character would sound like, and it's called the Wild Sheep Chase. And so one of the things is this character is a polymorphed wizard who's been turned into a sheep.
Okay.
So you get to sound like a high elf.
There you go.
That still sounds like sheep.
That's perfect.
So while the players are reading the scroll of Talk with Animals modified.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's them picking up the scroll and reading it, and the sheep's going, meh, 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 read the scroll, read the fucking scroll, read the fucking scroll, you idiot. Oh, you heard all that.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like I have to talk like a sheep the whole time.
Well, the best part too is like when you take some of the guidance of those characters, like it's helpful to like look at the books and see like what they're kind of supposed to be like, especially if it's your first time. It's hard building characters, but then kind of taking your own spin on it too is always a lot of fun. Like I always say, it's a good mix of like, 50-50.
Yeah.
Getting some guidelines, but giving your own spin always makes for a fun session. Yeah.
So the big bad, I completely made my own voice, my own character. And I read later like how to roleplay him, and I went in a completely different direction with it.
Yeah.
And I think my players really took to my version of it.
That's good.
He was the apprentice of a powerful wizard. And I'm trying not to spoil anything. So I made him like, everything he said had so much contention. Like he was just so like not happy with where he was.
Same.
So I had a very like, he would get like 2 words into a sentence and then like start all over again.
Oh, okay.
So he had this big speech at the end, which I completely fucking made up.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like all
beautiful. That's how you have to do it.
And I had this very nasally kind of like just angry, little Waluigi-ish. It was like, all my life I lived in his shadow.
Yeah, there you go.
Like a little Joker, a little. It's like if Waluigi meets the Joker.
Yeah, I feel like the Joker is Waluigi. It's the same thing. It's
Makes sense.
Yeah, the math checks out.
You rip off his mustache and his skin goes white.
That's how that works. I mean,
I kind of envision him having a mustache, and like I don't know if you guys play Clash Royale or any games like that, but like there's a wizard in that game that has like this lightning bolt mustache.
Okay,
that's kind of what I thought he looked like.
All right,
and I kind of just made a voice that looked like that.
That's the thing though. Is like some of my favorite stuff is not knowing. Like when we did the voice acting episode a couple episodes back, I almost like more if I saw a picture of something and did voices rather than seeing, and it's tough with the audio podcast, but like seeing pictures of stuff and doing voices. I feel like I can identify a voice better from a picture than I can say if someone was like nasally, back of the throat, speaks from the chest, has this. Sure. Like it's easier to say like that person sounds like this because I feel more natural doing it.
We can absolutely do an episode like that. We'll just put the links to pictures in the show notes.
There you go.
Oh, that would be really fun.
I would happily do an episode
There's a drunk live stream episode right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's get ripped up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, get trashed and start making up voices.
Mm-hmm.
We might do that right after this episode.
There you go. So do you feel like overall, like, do you prefer DMing or playing? I know they're very different things. And I think everybody at the end of the day always has a favorite. Like, so like, I feel like you've done both not that much to where like, it's not like in me, I've been DMing forever that like, I just prefer it because I've just been doing it for so long and I enjoy it.
Sure.
But for you, you haven't played that long and you've also only like really DM, let's say one full session. Do you prefer to play or to DM?
So as far as like following one down a whole rabbit hole, as of right now, I'm still going to prefer to play.
Yeah.
But being the type of gamer that I am, both in D&D and in board games and things like that, for board game nights, I'm the guy that when someone buys a new game, they open the cellophane and they hand me the rule book.
Yeah.
And then they start pouring beers.
What a control freak.
While I learn the game. I don't ask them to. This is how it's become.
It's tough playing games with him. He just beats you up and takes the handbook from you. It's really aggressive.
I'm very rules oriented and I enjoy stuff like that. And I enjoy teaching a game and I enjoy giving people an experience within a game. I used to host board game instruction nights. I was working there was a volunteer program within Wizards of the Coast called the Delegate Program that got disbanded a couple years ago. But I was in that program right up until the end. And we would do game demo nights at local game shops. And that was one of my favorite things to do. I had not only some things that they suggested, but I was responsible for some of the things they suggested for certain board games. I sent in pictures from my demo nights of Betrayal House on the Hill. And I took two of those folding card tables, those square ones with the added tops that everybody knows about, and I stacked them on top of each other. And I had a basement, a first floor and a second floor. Yeah. And I would have players crawl under the table to put down their basement tiles.
That's fun.
And they had a blast.
Yeah.
So I like creating an experience for players. So I can absolutely see myself being a DM also.
DM is great. I love it.
But I like playing games too.
But overall, I feel like you had a fun time.
I had a great time.
Yeah. It's always nice just kind of hopping into stuff and doing stuff.
Yeah, I think I can definitely see myself in the near future. I've already downloaded a few other prefab one-shots, stuff that's kind of designed for 3 hours. If Joe takes another night off, I'll pick it up. There
you go. So now I got to turn over to you, Josey. Not Josey and the Pussycats.
That's me.
That's you. So you haven't ever DM'd before.
No, I'm a little intimidated by it.
So that's what I was going to ask. What is holding you back from saying, let's just read a book and do a one-shot? What worries you?
Because I want to write my own story. I don't really like reading other, I want to use the source book as source material and write my own campaign, but also stuff,
well, then
time.
Just do it.
But time, I'm going to be going to school full time and working part time. So finding time to also plan out a D&D campaign, because you also I feel like when you play a campaign, you want to plan additional scenarios for if you get instances they don't follow the path you're trying to push them down and they fuck up and somebody's in a prison somewhere. Now you're going to write up a new dungeon.
I think that the older you get, the more acceptable though it becomes to maybe only play once a month or twice a month. So it's I feel like back in high school and college, there was a lot more time consuming where you felt like you had to play every week and you had to be there. You're going to lose a session. I think that the more people grow as adults, the more oh, wait a minute. It's not just me that can't make every week. A ton of other people can't do it either. But writing your own stuff is definitely, I prefer writing my own material, which makes it a little bit harder. And because you also don't want to railroad people into making a decision and being you have to do this. You're just not going to have fun playing.
Yeah.
But it's also difficult to be okay, well, I also have to be prepared for you to take the path on the left instead of the one on the right, even though there's 10 arrows pointing to the right and you can see the monster from there.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to have a specific scenario for every path that they could potentially take, but just have additional dungeons or write some side quests in or something that you could potentially throw at them if they really try to fuck you up.
Yeah.
That'll lead you back.
That's large campaign talk.
Yeah.
Where you have 4 places they need to go.
I only think big.
So let's say, the players have to go take down, the air temple, the water temple, the fire temple, and the earth temple. And they just get to choose what order they do them in.
Yeah.
You still have 4 temples there.
Yeah.
And what order, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So that's one way around that. And then it's I saw this meme today where someone's okay, you look down the left, you see ahead of you see a castle over to the east, over the horizon. The players go, okay, well, we're going to go west. And there was this,
they look at it, they're that's just too obvious. And you're like, no.
No. So they start going west, and it shows the cover art for Howl's Moving Castle. It's like, okay, you guys go west. There's another castle. It's the same fucking castle that was over there. Doesn't matter. So you can absolutely go like illusion of choice, or so you have like a bunch of choices that they can do in any
just
order.
like our voting system. People should be so familiar with that.
Different podcast.
Hashtag real talk.
Different podcast.
I just wanted to throw it in there. I like a little.
I know you did.
I like a little zest.
Dungeons, Dragons, and Depression.
Yes.
Jack hates my character voices because they all sound like small children.
They're awful.
Voices.
Yeah, well, it's not really. I tell you what, they're pretty much the same. It's just a tiny baby child. Don't. I know. I saw it in your eyes. Just don't. Just please, if you like me at all,
I tried so hard not to do it in front of you.
Even a little bit. It's. I hear it, and all I think is like, I'm gonna be put on a list just listening to this. Like, I'm gonna have to knock on my neighbor's door. You're gonna hear it like, oh, hey, my name's Jack. This one time I heard a voice of an 8-year-old. I didn't feel good about it. Like, it was strange. Yeah. I don't need that in my life.
But I want to talk to your cat like a baby.
No, don't do that. He's an adult.
No, he's an adult.
He's a man.
He's a man.
No, he's a baby.
No, I'm gonna kill you.
But so desperately trying to drive this back to D&D.
Please, God.
If that's a route you wanted to try, I'm going to leave a link in the show notes for this. But there's excellent prefab, 3-hour campaigns where like stuff like that is kind of thought of for you. And if that's the most difficult part of it for you, then like let's at least have someone else take care of that.
Yeah.
I also don't be afraid to have a bad session. Don't be afraid to be like, I don't want to do prefab stuff like you said, but don't be afraid to have like a bad, 4 or 5 hour session. Like, it's your first time. You're just starting to do stuff, like stuff's going to get messed up. Dude, I've been DMing for 15 years now or so. And I still fuck stuff up all the time. So like, just don't be afraid to have a bad session once in a while, man. Like, just get out there and do it. Just do it.
There's prefab sessions that end up bad.
Yeah. The prefab's tough though, because I feel like you railroad a lot, and that can kind of make it.
I have an anecdote about a prefab, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
I went to like a New Year's party at somebody's house, and we had what was supposed to be like a 6-hour campaign set up. And one of my friends was playing a Kenku in this campaign.
I already hate it.
Don't Kenku shame me, bro.
I'm not Kenku shaming, but like the enemy approached and they were bird people. So they were like, oh, can we speak the same language? And the DM was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, oh, this is just a huge misunderstanding. Like, just take us to your leader.
A huge part of the story. Yeah.
It was just like a 6-hour campaign went down to an hour and 40 minutes.
I've done that when we were talking about the horror stories in the last episode, talking about like, leaving stuff out or like ruining a campaign for someone. I've done it to where, like, reading backstory. I've done it to where I thought I read everything in the character's backstory, because I do keep it pretty short, and I just forgot to read languages for all the characters. Forgot to read language, and 2 of them took like Dwarven and like Stone or something, like really obscure languages just for the fun of it, not knowing that like a huge part in this overarching campaign was like looking for someone to find and read these runes. And he was like, oh yeah, I can read those. And I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It's like on the fly, like I had to do stuff and say like they're from an older time, and you can start to make out some of the stuff, but you need a scholar on it. And like we made it so it was still interesting that he could decipher some of it, and it cut some of the campaign out. But I did not realize that like what half of my campaign
you recognize this
around.
as being an old dialect of Dwarvish. You can understand the words, but they don't make any sense to you.
Pretty much. Like, I could read hieroglyphics because that's water in a boat. Probably means there's a boat on fucking water.
Right.
But I also don't know why the bird's pointing at the sun. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
If you need someone to not read something, you can make sure they don't read it.
Yeah, but I didn't want to like pigeonhole. But it's the same thing where I was like, fuck, I didn't read that. Shit. Yeah. But I mean, it's fun. Like that's the best part about DMing.
You can't always prepare for everything, and that's why improv is so fun.
Yeah.
You can't,
yes, and
there's a lot of really fun spells that like you can't prepare for like all of them. Like speak with plants and speak with animals and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like you see this unidentifiable herb in front of you. I can speak with plants. Well, shit, there goes that story.
Who are you?
I am the leaf.
What are you doing?
A fucking weed, bro.
Yeah. I am Groot. Someone had to say it.
I am Groot.
Someone had to say it. But no, that's what makes DMing fun, though, is like thinking of stuff on the fly. That's why I like it so much. I do enjoy, like, I mean, in a weird way, I know it's odd, but like being the center of attention and doing voices and things like that. DMing is just fun. I recommend it to pretty much everybody. Try it at least once. I'm really proud of you for spreading your little
Thank you,
wings.
bud. I actually
your
can't wait to
penguin
do it
wings
again.
and flying.
I immediately, when that session was over, I went and downloaded like 4 more.
That's what it bites you, man. It gets you. That's
I
why
got like 2 free ones, and then I bought like a pack of 3 more.
Yeah, and I really want to see you DM too, Josey. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I think I'd be good at it.
I think you'd be fine at it. Just fine. Perfectly adequate.
So I will leave a link.
I think I'm going to be great at it. I think I'm going to be better than you, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I'm dog shit.
I'll leave a link to all the ones that I picked up for myself in the show notes there. Those are affiliate links. Those will help out the podcast as well. But yeah, I look forward to doing this again, man. I had a really good time. I hope Joe comes back quickly because I want to keep going down that campaign.
Yeah, starting a campaign, at least finish it. That's always like the best thing. Like,
right. Dude,
that we can focus on
We're
DMing.
level 4. We haven't even gotten into hell yet.
Yeah.
We are like scratching the surface of the story, and we just hit a massive plot point.
Yeah.
Where like, holy shit, I can't believe that happened.
Nice. Those are always good to end on too.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. So both as a player and as a DM, I'm having a great time.
That's
Cannot
dope.
wait to. Well, we were supposed to play tonight, but I'm here instead.
I'm glad you spread your wings, though. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Now, I know I was leading the episode, but I'm going to leave it to you for the outro because I sometimes don't pay attention to stuff, and I don't want to give the wrong info for all of our lovely listeners out there.
Sure. So if you have your own stories about your first time DMing, or if you have any comments or tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like,
or just say hi.
Just to say
like
hi.
I said,
Yeah,
I'm really lonely.
Tell us that you're listening and that you love or even don't love what you're hearing.
Yeah,
So
tell us what you don't like, since everybody likes to say the negative stuff on the internet.
Tell me how many fingers I'm holding up in my hand right now.
It's at least 12.
Send all that over to curmudgeonsanddragonspod@gmail.com. Also, we are still bribing you guys for 5-star reviews. If you love the show, give us a 5-star review, take a screenshot, send it on over to our email, and we will send you, I'm holding it up next to the microphone here. Hopefully you can hear how awesome it is.
It sounds awesome.
We've got these acrylic pins that I will send to you for free. I will eat the cost of shipping myself, and we're just going to trade it to you for a 5-star review.
It's free stuff.
Screenshot it, send it on over to us, and we will make sure you get one of these.
Free real estate.
Aside from that, we are going to keep recording episodes just like this. We're having a blast. I hope you are too.
Hell yeah.
Jack, thanks for leading things tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Josey, thanks for also being here.
I feel included.
Nice. You should.
My name is Jason Portizo, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Goodbye. I love you.
Bye-bye.
This has been a JTP Audio podcast. Thanks for listening.